Jesus. Yes.
We could be anywhere, but we're here today, right? So what we're going to do now is we're going to open up with the law. For anybody that may be new, I am your teacher, Brother Kevin, and reading for me is my brother Rob. Exodus, the 20th chapter, verse 1 through 17. 21 through 17. Go ahead.
And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea and all them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's.
That's right. We just read Exodus 21 through 17. That is the covenant of peace. If we just kept that in the world, we'd be better off. Let's go to Ecclesiastes. The 12th chapter. We're going to read 13 and 14. Go ahead.
Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For God shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil.
Yes, sir. Let's go to Revelations, the 22nd chapter. Revelations chapter 22. We're going to read 13 through 15. Go ahead and read, brother.
I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last.
Yes, sir.
Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates into the city. For without are dogs, and sorcerers, and whoremongers, and murderers, and idolaters, and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie.
That's right. So we just read the law, which our ancestors, they all read the law, which reminds you why you are here, why you are getting close to God. Again, happy Sabbath, and the title of today's lesson is The Power of the Tongue. When I originally did it, it was titled Life and Death is in the Power of the Tongue. Sometimes we need to be reminded of these things because you can talk. Like people say, you put certain things in the atmosphere. You can talk down your blessings or you can talk the blessings in your life. Okay. So let's start at 2 Peter chapter 1. One thing that I do not like is negativity. You always gotta talk down. You talk away the blessing before the blessing even get there. We're gonna lay some groundwork. 2 Peter chapter 1. And we're gonna pick it up at verse 19. Second Peter chapter 1 and verse 19. We're gonna wait till everybody get there. Go ahead and read, brother.
We have also a more sure word of prophecy, whereunto ye do well that ye take heed, as unto a light that shineth in a dark place, until the day dawn and the day star rise in your hearts.
Get that mic close to you. Pull it closer to you. Yeah. Start that from 19 one more time.
We have also a more sure word of prophecy, whereunto ye do well that ye take heed, as unto a light that shineth in a dark place, until the day dawn and the day star rise in your hearts.
That's right. Read 20.
Knowing this first, that no prophecy of the scripture is of any private interpretation.
That's right. Go ahead.
For the prophecy came not in old time by the will of man, but holy men of God spake as they were moved by the Holy Ghost.
Right. So now let's go to Hebrews, the fourth chapter. Because this book and this word belong to none other than God. He authorized this thing. Hebrews, the 4th chapter. We can get into some deep things, what people like to call deep things. But things like this is what's going to get you into the kingdom. Hebrews 4 and verse 12. We're just going to read one verse. 4 and 12. Go ahead.
For the word of God is quick and powerful and sharper than a two-edged
Wait a
sword.
minute. It said for the word of God is what, brother?
Quick
Quick. And what else?
and powerful
And powerful. What else?
and sharper than a two-edged sword,
Yes, sir. What else?
piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and spirit, and of the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart.
This is what the word can do. It can discern your heart, the thoughts thereof, right?
Yes, sir.
Said quick, powerful, and sharper than any two-edged sword. Let's take it one step further. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 23. What else is this word like? Let's let the prophet Jeremiah tell us. Jeremiah chapter 23. And verse 29. 23 and verse 29. Go ahead and read, brother. What else?
Is not my word like as a fire?
Wait a minute. He said what?
Is not my word like as a fire?
Is not my word like as a fire? Go ahead.
Saith the Lord.
Yes.
And like a hammer that breaketh the rock in pieces.
What else is his word like? He said it's like a fire, and it's like a hammer that breaketh a rock in pieces. This word is powerful. So you got to be careful how you use it and what comes out of your mouth. Look at all the different things he told us about this word. Ain't that what he said? We all read it, didn't we? Now, let's go look at this one part of the member of our body. Let's go to James, the 3rd chapter. Let's look at this member that's part of our body. The smallest, almost, and the hardest to tame. That's why sometimes, what they used to say back in the day, hey, if you ain't got nothing good to say, don't say nothing at all. That's kind of hard, not saying nothing if you ain't got nothing good to say.
Right.
Jeremiah chapter 3 and verse 3. James. Chapter 3 and 3. Go ahead.
Behold, we put bits in the horses' mouths that they may obey us, and we turn about their whole body.
Yeah, with them bits that's in their mouth. Go ahead.
Behold also the ships, which though they be so great and are driven of fierce winds, yet are they turned about with a very small helm, whithersoever the governor listens.
That little bitty helm that's on the back turns their entire ship. Go ahead.
Even so the tongue is a little member, and boasteth great things.
Wait a minute. He said the tongue is a little member. But what do it do?
Boasteth great things.
Talk big. Go ahead.
Behold, how great a matter a little fire kindleth.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
And the tongue is a fire, a world of iniquity. So is the tongue among our members, that it defileth the whole body, and setteth on fire the course of nature, and it is set on fire of hell.
Look, I remember back in the days when I first started with the Israel of God, I remember something Brother Bowie put out there. He said, be careful what you say out your mouth. Because when it's out there, it is out there. You can't take it back now. You say different things to one another, it can be hurtful. That's why sometimes if people say certain things to me, I'll be very careful as to how I respond. Sometimes I won't say nothing. Most times I just listen. Because I know if I put it out there, it ain't coming back. But go ahead and read what verse we at.
That was the end of 6.
Go ahead.
7. For every kind of beast, and of birds, and of serpents, and of things in the sea is tamed.
Yes, sir.
And hath been tamed of mankind.
Yep, he said everything if you look at it. Go ahead.
But the tongue can no man tame. It is an unruly evil, full of deadly poison.
Listen to that. Unruly evil, full of what?
Deadly poison.
Gotta be tamed. Skip down to verse 14. Go ahead.
But if you have bitter envying and strife in your hearts, glory not and lie not against the truth.
That's right. Go ahead.
This wisdom descendeth not from above, but is earthly, sensual, devilish.
He said, so when his mouth is talking like that, he said this thing is not from above, it's sensual, earthly, and devilish. Go ahead.
For where envy and strife is, there is confusion in every evil work.
Yes, sir. When you got that going on, he said, what? He said, what is it? Confusion, envy, and strife, and every evil work. Let's go and read a story. Let's go to 1 Samuel. 1 Samuel, the 17th chapter. First Samuel chapter 17. And we're going to start at verse 1. Go ahead and read, brother.
Now the Philistines gathered together their armies to battle, and were gathered together at Shokoth, which belongeth to Judah, and pitched between Shokoth, Azekah, and Ephes-dammim. And Saul and the men of Israel were gathered together and pitched by the valley of Elah, and set the battle in array against the Philistines. And the Philistines stood on a mountain on the one side, and Israel stood on a mountain on the other side, and there was a valley between them. And there went out a champion out of the camp of the Philistines named Goliath of Gath, whose height was 6 cubits and a span.
Right. So now skip down to verse 8. We all heard the story about David and Goliath. But go ahead and read.
And he stood and cried unto the armies of Israel, and said unto them, Why are you come out to set your battle in array? Am I not a Philistine? And ye servants to Saul, choose you a man for you, and let them come down to me. If he be able to fight with me and to kill me, then will we be your servants. But if I prevail against him and kill him, then shall ye be our servants and serve us.
Yes.
And the Philistines said, I defy the armies of Israel this day. Give me a man that we may fight together.
Talking big thing, right? It said the tongue is a little member, but boasted great things. This guy's boasting, right?
Right.
Because he the champion amongst the Philistines. Go ahead and read.
When Saul and all Israel heard those words of the Philistine, they were dismayed and greatly afraid.
Scared, terrified. Skip down to verse 19.
Now Saul and they and all the men of Israel were in the valley of Elah fighting with the Philistines.
They over there in Eli fighting with who?
The Philistines.
The Philistines. Skip down to 21.
For Israel and the Philistines had put the battle in array, army against army.
Go ahead.
And David left his carriage in the hand of the keeper of the carriage, and ran into the army, and came and saluted his brethren. And as he talked with them, behold, there came upon the champion, the Philistine of Gath, Goliath by name, out of the armies of the Philistines, and spake according to the same words, and David heard them. And all the men of Israel, when they saw the man, fled from him, and were sore afraid.
Right.
And the men of Israel said,
so skip down to verse 26.
And David spake to the men that stood by him, saying, What shall be done to the man that killeth this Philistine, and taketh away the reproach from Israel? For who is this uncircumcised Philistine, that he should defy the armies of the living God?
Now David is speaking and trying to say, hey, wait. So everybody afraid of this guy? What should be done to him? Skip down to verse 31. And read, go ahead.
And when the words were heard which David spake, they rehearsed them before Saul, and he sent for him. And David said to Saul, let no man's heart fail because of him. Thy servant will go and fight with this Philistine. And Saul said to David, thou art not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him, for thou art but a youth, and he a man of war from his youth.
Now look at Saul. He told us, listen, you young, you ain't ready for this. But let's see what David do. Go ahead.
And David said unto Saul, thy servant kept his father's sheep, and there came a lion and a bear, and took a lamb out of the flock.
Yes, what else?
And I went out after him and smote him, and delivered it out of his mouth. And when he had arose against me, I caught him by his beard, and smote him, and slew him.
That's right, go ahead.
Thy servant slew both the lion and the bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them, seeing he hath defiled the armies of the living God.
You always got the smallest guy with courage. And that's the one that'll take you out most of the times. You always looking at the big guy. Oh, he's so big. He on swole. Y'all know how it is. He on swole. Take the young guy that's short and small. Knock him clean out. You be like, what happened? The Lord was with somebody and the other person he wasn't with. Go ahead.
David said, moreover, the Lord that delivered me out of the paw of the lion and out of the paw of the bear, he will deliver me out of the hand of this Philistine.
That's right. He said, look, man, the lion and the bear. Who is this Philistine then? Go ahead.
And Saul said unto David, go, and the Lord be with thee.
And who be with you?
The Lord.
The Lord. Skip down to verse 40.
And he took his staff in his hand and chose from him 5 smooth stones out of the brook. And he put them in the shepherd's bag which he had, even in a scrip, and his sling was in his hand, and he drew near to the Philistine.
That's right, go ahead.
And the Philistine came on and drew near unto David, and the man that bare the shield went before him. And when the Philistine looked about and saw David, he disdained him, for he was but a youth and ruddy and of fair countenance.
Yes, sir. He's like, oh, this is gonna be easy. This ain't nothing but this is a little boy. Go ahead.
And the Philistine said unto David, am I a dog that thou comest to me with staves? And the Philistine cursed David by his gods.
By his gods, go ahead.
And the Philistine said to David, come to me, and I will give thy flesh unto the fowls of the air and the beasts of the field. Then said David to the Philistine, thou comest to me with a sword, and with a spear, and with a shield. But I come to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom thou hast defiled.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
This day will the Lord deliver thee into mine hand, and I will smite thee, and take thine head from thee. And I will give the carcass of the host of the Philistines this day unto the fowls of the air, and to the wild beasts of the air, and all the earth may know that there is God in Israel.
Go ahead.
And all this assembly shall know that the Lord saveth not with sword and spear, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give you into our hands. And it came to pass when the Philistines arose and came and drew nigh to meet David, that David hasted and ran toward the army to meet the Philistines.
What else happened?
And David put his hand in his bag and took thence a stone and slang it and smote the Philistine in his forehead, that the stone sunk into his forehead. And he fell upon his face to the earth.
What else?
So David prevailed over the Philistine with a sling and with a stone, and smote the Philistine and slew him. But there was no sword in the hand of David.
What? So David didn't even use no sword, right?
No.
Read 51.
Therefore David ran and stood upon the Philistine and took his sword and drew it out of the sheath thereof and slew him and cut off his head.
So he took his sword out of his hand, out of his sheath, and cut his head off with his own sword. Go ahead and read.
And cut off his head therewith. And when the Philistines saw their champion was dead, they fled.
They did what?
They fled.
They always say that. Y'all know that saying. Get the biggest one, and the rest of them gonna flee. They burnt out because your champion is dead. We done took you out, and they looking like this little bitty old dude. It ain't the little bitty dude, it's the God of Israel. And David had faith in that. Skip down to verse 54, brother.
And David took the head of the Philistine and brought it to Jerusalem, but he put his armor in his tent.
He did what now? Read that 54 one more time.
And David took the head of the Philistine and brought it to Jerusalem,
But
he put his armor in his tent.
right, so he brought the head to Jerusalem. He wanted everybody to see, look, this guy got killed. Let's go to Proverbs 18. Proverbs, the 18th chapter. One guy running his mouth against the God of Israel, thinking he talking about a regular army who he always win against. He just didn't know that the Lord had somebody that he was going to use, which was David. David said he taught me to war. He taught my hands to war. God did. Proverbs 18. And pick it up at verse 21. This is where I got the title from. Proverbs, the 18th chapter, and verse 21. Go ahead and read, brother.
Death and life are in the power of the tongue.
What is?
Death and life.
Are in the what?
Power of the tongue.
Go ahead.
And they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof.
Right. And David said he was going to do to him what he was going to do, right?
Right.
So that's why I say death and life are in the power of the tongue. And Goliath, he had to fall because he was defying the God of Israel. So now jump up to verse 6 and read that for me. Go ahead.
A fool's lips enter into contention, and his mouth calleth for strokes.
Read that one more time. Pay attention to this, y'all. Go ahead.
A fool's lips enter into contention.
His lips enter into contention, and what else?
And his mouth calleth for strokes.
Mouth call for somebody to punch him in it. Slap him sometimes. That's what, listen, they said, Lord ain't telling you to do this. But guess what? When we just saw that war, what happened? Goliath got that, his mouth got taken care of. He said a fool's lips enter into contention, and his mouth calling for strokes. Go ahead and read.
The words of a talebearer are as wounds.
Wait a minute. The words of a who?
Talebearer.
No, that's verse 7. Read verse 7. I'm sorry.
A fool's mouth is his destruction.
Wait a minute. A fool's mouth is his what?
Destruction.
That's what killed him. Go ahead.
And his lips are the snare of his soul.
Yep. Got a call. Running your mouth. That's why the Lord said the life and death is in the power of the tongue. You got to be careful with this mouth. Because what you say will ultimately determine your outcome. back up to chapter 13, same book, Proverbs 13 and verse 3. Calling for strokes. Sometimes it'll happen. And it ain't gotta be a David situation. It can be somebody that ain't got no wisdom. You out there talking crazy to them, and next thing you know, they done knocked you flat on your back. Go ahead and read verse 3.
He that keepeth his mouth keepeth his life.
Wait, you keep your mouth, you keep what?
His life.
Your life. So in other words, you got to learn to do what? Tame the tongue. Because your life is definitely on the line. Go ahead and read.
But he that openeth wide his lips shall have destruction.
Keep that mouth running and got so much to say. What happened? Destruction. Boasting about what you gonna do, how you gonna do it, how you used to be. Don't nobody care about none of that. You talking about the God of Israel now, right? Let's go to 2 Samuel chapter 1. Here goes somebody else who was, quote unquote, trying to buy himself some type of mercy, thinking he was doing something good, and he ended up getting himself killed. Remember, there go this same David talking to this individual. Second Samuel chapter 1 and verse 1. 1 and verse 1. Go ahead.
Now it came to pass after the death of Saul, when David was returned from the slaughter of the Amalekites, and David had abode 2 days in Zilkah. And it came even to pass on the third day that, behold, a man came out of the camp from Saul with his clothes rent and earth upon his head. And so it was, when he came to David, that he fell to the earth and did obeisance.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
And David said unto him, From whence comest thou? And he said unto him, Out of the camp of Israel am I escaped.
So this is a guy from the, he's an Amalekite. Amalek is where he come from. Go ahead.
And David said unto him, How went the matter? I pray thee, tell me. And he answered, That the people are fled from the battle, and many of the people also are fallen and dead. And Saul and Jonathan, his son, are dead also.
Wait, so now he's rehearsing to David what actually happened. This is what he's saying. Go ahead and read.
And David said unto the young man that told him, How knowest thou that Saul and Jonathan, his son, be dead?
How do you know this? Go ahead.
And the young man that told him said, As I happened by chance upon Mount Gilboa, behold, Saul leaned upon his spear, and lo, the chariots and horsemen followed hard after him. And when he looked behind him, he saw me, and he called unto me, and I answered, Here am I. And he said unto me, Who art thou? And I answered him, I am a Amalekite.
I am a
Amalekite. And he
so,
said,
So listen, all David is doing is asking him questions. And his mouth is going to bring his own ruin. Go ahead.
He said unto me again, Stand, I pray thee, upon me, and slay me, for anguish is come upon me, because my life is yet whole in me. So I stood upon him and slew him, because I was sure that he could not live after that he was fallen. And I took the crown that was upon his head, and the bracelet that was on his arm, and I have brought them hither unto my Lord.
Wait, you killed the anointed of God? You said you killed Saul. Go ahead and read, brother. What else?
Then David took hold on his clothes and rent them, and likewise all the men that were with him. And they mourned and wept and fasted until evening for Saul and for Jonathan his son, and for the people of the Lord and for the house of Israel, because they were fallen by the sword.
What else?
And David said unto the young man that told him, Whence art thou? And he answered, I am the son of a stranger and an Amalekite.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
And David said unto him, How wast thou not afraid to stretch forth thine hand to destroy the Lord's anointed?
See what he asked? Because even David was afraid to do something to him. Because he was the Lord's anointed. Even though he could have, he was smart enough not to. So he asked him, how come you wasn't afraid? Go ahead.
And David called one of the young men and said, Go near and fall upon him.
Do what?
Go near and fall upon him.
And what else?
And he smote him that he died.
Got killed. Go ahead.
And David said unto him, Thy blood be upon thy head.
Yep.
For thy mouth has testified against thee, saying, I have slain the Lord's anointed.
What testified against him?
Thy
His
mouth.
own mouth. Running your mouth got you killed. You didn't even know who you was talking to. You did, but you thought it was going to be in your favor. Let's go back to Proverbs 17. Let's see what the Lord say about this guy. Proverbs, the 17th chapter. It's all right here for us to read. And for us to know what to say, what not to say, what to do, what not to do. (17) and verse 27. 17 and verse 27. Remember what just happened and what we read. Now Solomon is finna tell us he agree with this. Go ahead and read, brother.
He that hath knowledge spareth his words.
Yes, sir. You got knowledge. You're going to spare your words. In other words, you're going to be careful of what you say. How you say it, who you say it around. You're going to be careful. Go ahead.
And a man of understanding is an excellent spirit.
He's of a what, brother?
Excellent spirit.
Excellent spirit. Go ahead.
Even a fool, when he holdeth his peace, is counted wise.
Ooh, even a fool, he says, hey, when he hold his peace is counted wise. Go ahead, what else?
And he that shutteth his lips is esteemed a man of understanding.
Sometimes you got to shut that mouth up. That's the one is of a wise and is of an understanding spirit. The ones they speak, you know how we say, hey man, hey, it was on my mind, I just got to let it off. The Lord will deal with you at that point in time. Seems like we get it off right then and there, but the Lord is sometimes he merciful, see if you'll turn from it. But if you continue to do it, the Lord said, I got something for you. Let's go to Galatians, the 6th chapter. This tongue got power, man. It can keep you living or it can kill you. nobody saying nothing to me about nothing. If they, if you ain't finna bring nothing that's gonna sound like a blessing to me, you come bringing some negativity. Where's the hope? Where's the love? Why is it always the downside? I'm serious. Galatians, the 6th chapter and verse 7. Go ahead and read, brother.
Be not deceived. God is not mocked, for whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap.
Yep, whatever you sow, you're going to reap. Go ahead.
For he that soweth to his flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption, but he that soweth to the Spirit shall of the Spirit reap life everlasting.
See how I go? And even in Proverbs, it says, as a man thinketh, so is he. When your mouth open and you say something, that was what's in your heart anyway. That's how you felt from the beginning. And that right there, we got to give an answer to who? God. It always look like it's a man in front of you, but it's God. Let's go to 1 Corinthians, the 3rd chapter. Now, Paul finna give us an example of something. Paul finna say, look, man, I like to give you some advice. I like to share some of this steak dinner with you, but something is holding you up. 1 Corinthians 3 and verse 1. 3 and 1, go ahead.
And I, brethren, could not speak unto you as unto spiritual.
Why?
But as unto carnal, even as unto babes in Christ.
Go ahead.
I have fed you with milk and not with meat.
Why?
For hitherto you were not able to bear it.
That's right. Why?
Neither yet now are ye able.
Go ahead.
For ye are yet carnal.
Why?
For whereas there is among you envying.
Listen, he told you carnal. Yep. What's among you? Envying. It said that in the book of James. Go ahead.
And strife and division.
And what?
Division.
Strife, division. What else?
And ye are not carnal and walk as
it said,
men.
Are you not carnal and what?
Walk as men.
Walk as men? What Jesus called you? He called you gods. But he said you're going to die like men and like one of the princes. Let's go back to James, the 3rd chapter. If we don't know these things, we're going to learn them as we move forward. We back at James 3. Pick it up at verse 17. Go ahead and read, brother.
But the wisdom that is from above is first pure.
Yes.
Then peaceable.
He said now the wisdom from above that God give is first what? Pure. It's uncut. Then what else, brother?
Then peaceable,
What else?
gentle,
Gentle. What else?
and easy to be entreated,
Understood. Go ahead.
full of mercy and good fruits,
How come we can't have mercy on one another? And good fruits, he said. What else?
without partiality
Yes.
and without hypocrisy.
Sometimes we do that. You gonna hold my feet to the fire, but what about your hypocrisy? When it's up to you to do what you're supposed to do. In the same regard, you wanna hold my feet to the fire. But then when it comes to you, let's not think about what I said and what I done. Jesus tell you in Matthew the 23rd chapter, when he kept talking about the scribes and the Pharisees, he said they sit in Moses' seat, but guess what? He said they hypocrites. Everywhere in that 23rd chapter, he kept calling them hypocrite, 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 hypocrite. What verse was that we just
That was
read?
into 17.
Go ahead and read.
And the fruit of righteousness is sown in peace of them that make peace.
You gotta make peace. Why we always gang banging on one another? If there's a problem, let's communicate. Let's conversate. Let's let the book tell us how to do it. Jump up to verse 13. What else?
Who is wise man and endued with
Who is a wise man? Go ahead.
and endued with knowledge among you.
Who is one? Go ahead.
Let him show out of a good conversation his works with meekness of wisdom.
That's the one you look for. That's the one you look at right there. He gonna show out the good conversation. His works is gonna do it with meekness of what?
Wisdom.
Wisdom. Who is an individual like that? Let's go take a look at him. Let's go to Genesis, the 13th chapter. Last night we read about him. He was called a friend of God, Abraham. The Lord ain't got this stuff written in this book for nothing. This ain't no romance novel. Just pick it up and, oh, that was a nice little read. Mm-mm. This right here is dependent on our salvation. And verse 1. Genesis chapter 13 and verse 1. Go ahead and read, brother.
And Abraham went up out of Egypt, he and his wife and all that he had, and Lot with him into the south. And Abraham was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold. And he went in his journeys from the south even to Bethel, unto the place where his tent had been at the beginning between Bethel and Hai, unto the place of the altar which he had made there at the first. And there Abram called on the name of the Lord. And Lot also, which went with Abram, had flocks and herds and tents. And the land was not able to bear them, that they might dwell together, for their substance was great. So they could not dwell together.
Yes, what else?
And there was a strife between the herdmen of Abram's cattle and the herdmen of Lot's cattle.
Wait a minute. So if there's strife right there, that come from where? He said that's earthly, sensual, and devilish. That wisdom don't come from above. So Satan is right there in the midst. Let's see who's gonna handle it and How? Go ahead.
And the Canaanite and the Perizzite dwelled then in the land.
Go ahead.
And Abram said unto Lot, let there be no strife.
What?
Let there be no strife.
Let there be no what?
Strife.
Go ahead.
I pray thee, between me and thee, and between my herdmen and thy herdmen, for we be brethren.
That's communicating right there. That's some knowledge. He said, let there be none. What else he say, brother? Go ahead.
Is not the whole land before thee?
Is not the whole land before us? Go ahead.
Separate thyself, I pray thee, from me.
Yes.
If thou wilt take the left hand, then I will go to the right.
Listen, if you take the left, I go to the right. Go ahead and read.
Or if thou depart to the right hand, then I will go on to the left.
If you want the right, I go to the left. Let's make this simple, man. Let's make sure we're not fighting and gang banging against each other. Go ahead.
And Lot lifted up his eyes and beheld all the plain of Jordan,
Yes.
that it was well watered everywhere, before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, even as the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, as thou comest unto Zoar.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Then Lot chose him all the plain of Jordan, and Lot journeyed east, and they separated themselves the one from the other.
That's right. And where Abram go?
Abram dwelled in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelled in the cities of the plain, and pitched his tent towards Sodom.
Just so happened, Lot. That's why he told him, pick your spot. So Lot can't come back and say, hey, that's my uncle right there. He set me up, man. He sent me where all the Sodomites is at. Now you chose that spot. I could have easily went there if you would have chose that spot. But he didn't. The point is, he was a peacemaker. Abraham was. And when you read Matthew, the 5th chapter, it's going to tell you about peacemakers. But let's go to Matthew chapter 5. The book say, blessed is the peacemakers, for they shall see God. Abraham did and will. What about us? That's what I want. Matthew chapter 5. And we're going to pick it up at verse 35. I'm sorry. Mark chapter 5. I need glasses. I denied that way too long now. I'm gonna have to do it. Go see my physician and let them do the eye test on me. Mark chapter 5 and verse 35. Go ahead and read, brother.
While he yet spake, there came from the ruler of the synagogue's house certain which they said, thy daughter is dead. Why troublest thou the master any further?
Go ahead.
As soon as Jesus heard the word that was spoken, he saith unto the ruler of the synagogue, be not afraid, only believe.
Only what?
believe.
Go ahead.
And he suffered no man to follow him, save Peter and James and John, the brother of James.
That's right.
And he cometh to the house of the ruler of the synagogue, and seeth the tumult, and them that wept and wailed greatly. And when he was come in, he saith unto them, Why make ye this ado and weep? The damsel is not dead, but sleepeth. And they laughed him to scorn. But when he had put them all out, he taketh the father and the mother of the damsel, and them that were with him, and entered in where the damsel was lying. And he took the damsel by the hand, and said unto her, Talitha, come up, which is being interpreted, Damsel, I say unto thee, arise.
But they all laughed at him, right? He put them out, man. Quit playing games. I'm here. I'm on a mission. I'm working for my Father. Go ahead and read.
And straightway the damsel arose and walked, for she was of the age of 12 years.
How old was she?
12 years.
Go ahead.
And they were astonished with a great astonishment. And he charged them straitly that no man should know it, and commanded that something should be given her to eat.
Wait a minute now. Jesus turned around and did something greater than Abraham did, right? He brought this girl back alive. And what did they do? They wanted to mock him and laugh at him, and he said he put him out. And then said this girl ain't dead, she's sleeping. Everybody had to be looking crazy like, what you mean she's asleep? That's a hard sleep, brother. But God knows what state we in, right? Now let's go to Matthew chapter 5. He know what state we in. She just so happened to be 12 years old. And when you wake up out of your sleep, you always, thirsty and hungry. That's why he said, get this girl some to eat. Matthew chapter 5 and verse 1. 5 and 1. Go ahead.
And seeing the multitudes, he went up into a mountain. And when he was set, his disciples came unto him. And he opened his mouth and taught them, saying.
Now, what is Jesus doing here? He teaching, right?
Yes.
He not playing no games. Skip down to verse 9.
Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God.
Wait a minute. Read that 9 again.
Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God.
Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Jesus was, Abraham was. We just saw that. Let's go to Ecclesiastes, the 5th chapter. You try to bring peace up, they don't look at you like you soft. Or it's gonna be like that Proverb 4 that Rob opened up with. And you know the Lord did that because it fit the situation perfect, and his brother didn't even know my title. Ecclesiastes 5 and read verse 2. We're only reading one verse, verse 2. Go ahead.
Be not rash with thy mouth, and let not thine heart be hasty to utter anything before God. For God is in heaven, and thou upon the earth. Therefore let thy words be few.
Let your words be what?
Few.
Read that one more time. I don't think we paying attention. Go ahead.
Be not rash with thy mouth,
Yes, sir.
and let not thine heart be hasty to utter anything before God.
Wait a minute. Don't be so quick, right? Go ahead.
For God is in heaven, and thou upon the earth. Therefore let thy words be few.
Let your words be few. Some of us, we can't control it. We just be going off the rail. Let's go to Judges, the 11th chapter. Let's look at somebody. And truly, he didn't have to do this. Judges chapter 11, verse 1. 11 and verse 1. Go ahead.
Now Jephthah the Gileadite was a mighty man of valor, and he was the son of a harlot, and Gilead begat Jephthah.
Wait a minute. Read that again, brother.
Now Jephthah the Gileadite was a mighty man of valor, and he was the son of an harlot, and Gilead begat Jephthah.
Gilead. He begat who?
Jephthah.
Jephthah. Go ahead and read.
And Gilead's wife bare him sons, and his wife's sons grew up, and they thrust out Jephthah and said unto him, Thou shalt not inherit in our father's house, for thou art the son of a strange woman. Then Jephthah fled from his brethren and dwelt in the land of
Wait a minute now. Verse 2, he said what? And Gilead's wife did what?
Bare him sons.
Go ahead, read that again. Bear him what?
And Gilead's wife bare him sons.
Yes.
And his wife's sons grew up, and they thrust out Jephthah and said unto him,
Now notice in verse 1, Jephthah his mother was a harlot. The Bible speaks about a harlot and a whore. A whore is a woman that sleep around and she don't want no money. She just want the pleasure. God is against that. The harlot is what you call today a prostitute. She want money for her services. So his mother was a woman that needed money for her services. And the daddy laid with her, just so happened to have a boy named Jephthah. The rest of his children are by his wife. They say, get out the house. Your mama ain't nothing but a whore, harlot. So they thrust him out. Go ahead and read.
Thou shalt not inherit in our father's house, for thou art the son of a strange woman.
Go ahead.
Then Jephthah fled from his brethren and dwelt in the land of Tob. And there was a gathering vain men to Jephthah and went out with him. And it came to pass in process of time that the children of Ammon made war against Israel. And it was so that when the children of Ammon made war against Israel, the elders of Gilead went to fetch Jephthah out of the land of Tob.
Right. So Gilead, right?
Yes.
What verse you at?
That was the end of 5.
You speed read. Read verse 3. Slow down and read verse 3. We ain't got nowhere to go. It's the Lord's Sabbath day.
And it came to pass in process of time that the children of Ammon made war against Israel. And it was so that when the children of Ammon made war against Israel, the elders of Gilead went to fetch Jephthah out of the land of Tob.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
And they said unto Jephthah, Come and be our captain, that we may fight with the children of Ammon. And Jephthah said unto the elders of Gilead, Do not ye hate me, and expel me out of my father's house?
So now, excuse me. So now they need him. And what did he say in return? Then y'all thrust me out of my mama's house. Out to their father's house. In other words, wasn't y'all talking trash? Now you need me for something. Go ahead.
And why are ye come unto me now when ye are in distress?
That's right. What you come to me for now that you need me? You going through something. Go ahead.
And the elders of Gilead said unto Jephthah.
No. What verse was that? 7, right?
That was the end of 7.
Okay. Skip down to verse 10.
And the elders of Gilead said unto Jephthah.
Gilead.
And the elders of Gilead said unto Jephthah, The Lord be witness between us, if we do not so according to thy words.
That's right. Skip down to verse 29 now. And go ahead and read.
Then the Spirit of the Lord came upon Jephthah, and he passed Gilead and Manasseh, and passed over Mizpeh of Gilead, and from Mizpeh of Gilead he passed over unto the children of Ammon.
Notice the Spirit of the Lord came upon him. Go ahead.
And Jephthah vowed a vow unto the Lord, and said, If thou shalt without fail deliver the children of Ammon into mine hands, then it shall be that whatsoever cometh forth of the doors of my house to meet me, when I return in peace from the children of Ammon, shall surely be the Lord's, and I will offer it up for a burnt offering.
You didn't need to say that, man. You didn't need to vow no vow. The Spirit of the Lord was already with you. Now you got to keep it. And then you said, whatever come out the doors of your house, you're going to offer it for a burnt offering. You got to be thinking long and hard. Wait a minute. Who all in my house? Who might come running out that door first? See, me, I'll be thinking about these things. I observe that type of stuff. So I'll be like, no, I can't make that vow because my daughter come running out that door all the time. Or I'll be like, my son come running out that door all the time. But what verse we at now?
End of 31.
Go ahead.
So Jephthah passed over unto the children of Ammon to fight against them, and the Lord delivered them into his hands. And he smote them from Aroer, even till thou come to Minnith, even 20 cities, and unto the plain of the vineyards, with a very great slaughter. Thus the children of Ammon were subdued before the children of Israel.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
And Jephthah came to Mizpeh unto his house, and behold, his daughter came out to meet him with timbrels.
Wait a minute. Who came out that door?
His daughter.
Yeah, I remember what he said now. And his daughter come out the door. Yeah, I know how a man feels about his daughters. Come on now. It ain't like you got 10 boys and you say, okay, well, Fred, you're gonna be good, bro. Leroy, you cool. But this is your daughter, your only daughter. Go ahead and read.
His daughter came out to meet him with timbrels and with dances, and she was his only child. Beside her, he had neither son nor daughter.
So now, not only this is only daughter, this is only child, period. Go ahead.
And it came to pass, when he saw her, that he rent his clothes and said, Alas, my daughter, thou hast brought me very low, and thou art one of them.
Wait. He threw her under the bus. How she bring you very low? She don't know nothing about what you said. Your mouth brought you very low. Go ahead and read.
And thou art one of them that trouble me.
Yes, sir.
For I have opened my mouth unto the Lord, and I cannot go back.
That's right. Go ahead.
And she said unto him, My father, if thou hast opened thy mouth unto the Lord, do to me according to that which hath proceeded out of thy mouth.
That's right. This daughter even got understanding. Because she ain't saying, well, can you do this or can you do that? But hey, I ain't finna be no burnt offering. She ain't say none of that. She going along with it. Go ahead and read.
For as much as the Lord hath taken vengeance for thee of thine enemies, even of the children of Ammon.
That's right. Go ahead.
And she said unto her father, Let this thing be done for me. Let me alone 2 months, that I may go up and down upon the mountains, and bewail my virginity, and I and my fellows.
I and my fellows. Now, let's go to Numbers, the 30th chapter, and see why she said what she said. And why he felt the way he felt. Y'all know a vow that we all make when we deal with the Lord, when we get in that water. That's a vow. If you got in that water, it's wrapped. You told him, all that you said, I will do. You can't turn from it. You belong to him. You are married. You got to do what he say do now. 30:2, go ahead and read that, just that second verse. Go ahead.
If a man vow a vow unto the Lord,
Yes.
or swear an oath to bind his soul with a bond,
Yep.
he shall not break his word.
He shall not break what?
His word.
Go ahead.
And he shall do according to all that proceedeth out of his mouth.
Ain't that what happened? That's the law right there, ain't it? Open your mouth, gotta keep it. Let's go to Job, 6th chapter. Job chapter 6. These are things just to remind us. We always get the meat. Let's get some milk. Let's get something that can save our soul. All right, we at 6 and what I say, 24, right? Let's see what Job say. Just in his 24th verse. We just gonna read one verse. 24, go ahead.
Teach me, and I will hold my tongue.
Teach me and I will what?
hold my tongue,
So you got to be taught. Go ahead.
and cause me to understand wherein I have erred.
Yep. And if you said something that you shouldn't have said, cause me to understand. That's why the Lord said, meditate in his word, read this book. And the more you learn, the more you get closer with God, you're going to watch what you say. And the further you get away from them, you just going to, whatever come out my mouth just going to come out. I'll pay for the consequences later. When it's too late. Me, I'm a little too scared. Let's go to Proverbs 16. Then you got to have that balance to where you ain't too scared and that you will deal with things that you know you're supposed to. Proverbs 16 and verse 23. 16 and 23. Go ahead.
The heart of the wise teaches his mouth,
Wait a minute. The heart of the wise, the one that's got wisdom. What he do?
teaches his mouth,
Teach his mouth by reading this book. Go ahead.
and addeth learning to his lips.
Yep. Meaning he gonna watch what his mouth say. Your daughter can be a burnt offering because of your mouth. We just saw that. You can be like Goliath because of your mouth. You can be like the Amalekite who ran up on David to he killed Saul and got killed. It's so many different examples. You got to be careful. Chapter 1, same book, Proverbs chapter 1. We're going to read one verse. Verse 5. Everybody that's wise, this is what's going to happen. 1 and 5, go ahead.
A wise man will hear.
The one that's wise, they gonna hear what the book say. They ain't gonna take nothing personal. Oh, that's for me, huh? Yeah, the Lord got it out there for you. Of course. Go ahead.
And will increase learning. And a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsel.
Unto who?
Wise counsel.
Wise counsels, not foolish counsels. Wise counsels. Let's go back over to 18. Same book. 18 and one verse over here. This happen all the time too. And verse 13. 18 and verse 13. Go ahead.
He that answereth a matter before he heareth it, it is folly and shame unto him.
Wait a minute, but now right there he said, he that answered what? What'd he say, brother?
A matter before he heareth it.
You ain't even let that person finish speaking. You answered the matter before you even heard the whole situation. They might even answer. Finna give you the answer before you even finish what you saying, before they finish what they saying. You cut them off in their speech. Go ahead.
It is The spirit of a man will sustain his infirmity.
No, he said before he heard it, right? It is folly and shame unto him or her, male or female. We know it's talking about one or the other, right? Let's go to James chapter 1. James chapter 1. Guess what? This is something good to get ready to go into the Day of Atonement on. Because tonight is Day of Atonement. And you should have ate your T-bone yesterday, right? Should have had that big juicy T-bone back then. Now, too late. Got to roll with it all the way to Sunday. You get to get you a salad or some lunch meat till you get full, but after that, when it get dark, somebody's stomach and they back. But for good reason though, depending on who's looking at it. Sometimes we fast and don't even be knowing it though. You can go the whole day without eating and drinking something. Then you be like, you know what? Man, I'm starving. I ain't ate nothing all day. Might have a little something to drink, but man, I ain't ate nothing all day. But now when it's time to focus on it, you paying attention to every minute, second, and hour. Man, it ain't nothing but just 2 o'clock. I'm going back to sleep. Now you want to sleep through the fast. Lord, hopefully the Lord keep you woke. You're going to feel this affliction. James chapter 1, verse 19. If you've been doing it for years, practicing it for years, I know I have since the 90s. Well, Brother Boy longer than that. And he said it's the worst time for him. But me, it don't bother me like that. That's when you got to make sure you have the TV. Not watching commercials where they throwing food in your face and all that. And pray to God you don't live with nobody that don't know and they cooking and you smelling all the food. James 1 and 19, read that, brother.
Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear.
Be what?
Swift to hear.
Because if we just got to reading about the one that answered the matter before he heard, right? Be swift to hear instead of swift to speak. What else, brother?
Slow to speak.
What else?
And slow to wrath.
Skip down to 26 and read that.
If any man among you seem to be religious and bridleth not his tongue, but deceiveth his own heart, this man's religion is vain.
This man's religion is what, brother?
Is vain.
Gotta bridle that what? Tongue. Let's go to Proverbs 15. Remember when the scribes and Pharisees come tempting Jesus, bringing that woman in that committed adultery by herself, supposedly. They asked Jesus the question. When he stooped back down, started writing in the ground again. See how you got to know how to ignore certain things. You got to know how to avoid certain things. Instead of just jumping right into it. What? Woman and machine did it by herself. Y'all know y'all foul for this. Be like Jesus, don't even say nothing, man. You already know where they coming with. Foolishness. These guys supposed to know better. Remember, he said they sit in Moses' seat, so you tempted me. You trying to draw me out the spirit, so I ain't saying nothing. I'll let God deal with that part. I pray for you. Proverbs 15:1. Go ahead. 15:1. Proverbs 15:1. Yes, sir.
A soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger.
A soft answer turn away wrath. I witness this to be true, but what? But grievous words do what?
Stir up anger.
Keep going back and forth with one another. It's going to be a fist fight. Go ahead and read verse 2.
The tongue of the wise uses knowledge aright.
That's right. What else?
But the mouth of fools poureth out foolishness.
Keep on going. Foolishness. Verse 23. What else?
A man has joy by the answer of his mouth.
Yes, sir. When you speaking a good thing, go ahead.
And a word spoken in due season, how good is it?
And a word spoken in due season. At the right time. How good is it? (16:1). 16:1. Go ahead.
The preparations of the heart in man and the answer of the tongue is from the Lord.
Wait a minute now. Read that one more time. Slow.
The preparations of the heart in man and the answer of the tongue is from the Lord.
If you're doing it right, though. He said that the answer of the tongue is from the Lord. Why? You reading this book. We started out in 2 Peter chapter 1. 19 through 21, and that's all. This book is about Jesus right here. You got to put this mind frame on. You can't use your mind how you normally would deal with things. This is how I'm going to deal with it. This the way it is going to be. You ain't learned nothing according to the Bible then. You just been. Sometimes we might be faking the funk, y'all. You got to be careful. That's why the Lord tell you. And I think it's in James, the first chapter as well, about keeping that word. He said, the man that don't do it, he said he deceives his own self. You ain't tricking God. You ain't tricking the person next to you. You tricking you. Because you got to stand before God, and God going to give you he going to put everything in front of you and say, you had the opportunity here. Why you ain't apply yourself? This person made me mad. What I told you according to the word to do when they make you mad. Proverbs 24 and 29. We got a couple of more and we out of here. 24 and verse 29. Go ahead and read, brother.
Say not, I will do so to him as he hath done to me.
See that? Because sometimes we always do that. I'm going to get my payback. I'm going to say it back to you the way you say it to me. Go ahead and read.
I will render to the man according to his work.
Yes, sir. I will render to the man according to his work. What you do to me, I'm going to do to you. If that's how you want it to be, that's how it's going to be. You ain't going to get away with talking crazy to me and then I'll talk crazy back. He said, say not. And that's what we do. We say it. We don't truly believe in this book when it's time to apply it. God showed it. He put us right in a situation to show us. And when it's time to grow, we don't grow. We'll preach it to somebody else, and guess what? When it's time for us to apply it, we fail the test. Not just fail it, we fail it miserably. Matthew chapter 12, pick it up at verse 36. And we got two more after this. Matthew chapter 12 and verse 36. Go ahead and read, brother.
But I say unto you that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment.
Say that again. Read that from the top one more time.
But I say unto you that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment.
This ain't nothing to play with. Go ahead and read, brother. What else?
For by the words thou shalt be justified.
No, read that again from the top.
But I say unto you,
Verse 37.
Verse.
37, read it from the top.
For by thy words thou shalt be justified,
See, for by your words you will be justified. Go ahead.
and by thy words thou shalt be condemned.
And by your words you'll be condemned. Whichever one you choose to do. The Lord say either way. Condemnation, because this ain't nothing to play with. You got in that water, you out. You shouldn't have never did it. Still don't mean you're gonna get away. But you still shouldn't have did that. Because now we turn into our ancestors. All that the Lord said we will do. Turned around, didn't do it. He whooping us with all kind of belts to get our attention. Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 10. Ecclesiastes chapter 10, and then we got one more. You got to watch out for the busybodies. What the Bible calls them tattlers, talebearer. You got to watch out for all that type of stuff. You just don't know which form it come in, but you got to watch out for that type of stuff. 10 and verse 12. Go ahead.
The words of a wise man's mouth are gracious, but the lips of a fool will swallow up himself.
Listen to that. There ain't no need to break that down. Go ahead.
The beginning of the words of his mouth is foolishness,
Yes.
and the end of his talk is mischievous madness.
From the start to the finish. That's what we read in 4. Proverbs 4:14 through 19. In the opening scripture. Go ahead.
A fool also is full of words.
Wait a minute. Who is?
A fool.
Full of words. Talk too much. Y'all remember that song? Talk too much. Homeboy, you never shut up. Y'all remember that? I remember it all. You know, that stuff locked in your head. It ain't that you can't communicate. It's what you communicating about when you talk too much. They say, you know, when he said, homeboy, you never shut up. That type of stuff come to my mind when I read the book. I say, man, it was in songs and everything. Go ahead and read. What else?
A man cannot tell what shall be and what shall be after him. Who can tell him?
He said, who can tell it? A fool also is full of words. A man cannot tell what shall be and what shall be after him. Who can tell him? You have no clue what's next that's coming out of his mouth. You have no clue. You have. just waiting to see. Then if you a person like, a real wise person or a person that follow, that's trying to become that servant every day, that stuff affects you, man. I be looking for the exit door. See that sign up there say exit, sign, exit, exit. I be looking for the exit sign like, man. I remember my wife used to use this getaway card. I'd be in the back room. I heard her in the front room. She tried to get off the phone because they talking crazy. And she used me as a scapegoat. She did that one time. More than one, but I heard and I caught it. Huh, baby, what you say? All right, here I come. And I'm like, well, I ain't call you. But see, that's the type of stuff that you look for to get away from the foolishness. And although I never had to yell out like that, sometimes I get off the phone or out of the midst of the company of somebody talking crazy. Hold on, man, hold that thought real quick. Let me go in here. I'll be right back. Come back out. Got a phone on my head and the phone ain't even on, ain't even dialing nothing. But sometimes, you be trying to run from it. Instead of just telling them, look, man, you know what? You talking too much. But you want to be careful how you approach it. Let's go to Psalm 141. The people close to me, I can always tell when they know. That same thing, like I said with my wife. I can tell when my daughter don't want to hear it. I can tell when she done had enough, hear some foolishness. And just be like, they get to looking at the watches. I gotta go make this run, Let me go get Cam, and all that. Be like, hold on, wait a minute. She getting off that phone. She trying to dodge that bullet. That's the good thing, though. You gotta run from it sometimes. Especially if you can't correct it. Psalm 141. It's our last spot. And again, when the Sabbath is over, the weekly Sabbath, and we're going to atonement, ain't nobody gonna be talking. You ain't gotta worry about it then. Everybody gonna be resting. Like me and James was talking about last Friday night. Lesson. They be good times for us because the Lord be showing us all kind of lessons. Putting stuff together while everybody else is, Don't sleep or quiet. Psalm 141, verse 1 through 3. And if you got a problem with everything we just read, ask the Lord for this. Go ahead and read.
Lord, I cry unto thee. Make haste unto me. Give ear unto my voice when I cry unto thee. Let my prayer be set forth before thee as incense, and the lifting up of my hands as the evening sacrifice.
Yes, sir. What else?
Set a watch, O Lord, before my mouth.
Wait a minute. Do what?
Set a watch, O Lord, before my mouth.
One more time.
Set a watch, O Lord, before my mouth.
Go ahead.
Keep the door of my lips.
Keep the door of my lips. Smack me in my mouth so I won't say something that I'm going to regret. Set a watch, oh Lord. Give me the words to say. Because this tongue has power. You can kill people with what you say. You can mess up their blessings. You can speak evil over them. And you got to watch that type of stuff. Do we understand what we just heard?
Yes.
Making sure that was the last one. The power of the tongue. I hope y'all got something from it.